Good afternoon. This is May 17th, and I'm deep in the heart of Austin, Texas. I've returned to Cherrywood, just barely managing to escape the bed bugs and maggots. It's time for me to issue a warning. This warning is about Burke'S Supervised Living 6104 Wheless Cove, Wheless, Cove, Austin, Texas. I'm not going to wait for the right to get right. I'm sitting here in Cherrywood and the only blighted property in between functioning, profitable businesses. It looks bad, but you know, what the hell. Anyway, this should go pretty quick because I've adjusted my video to 1080p and it's giving me this real narrow screen thing. I may have to, but for the first time in my life, I'm 69 years old, I have run into bed bugs. And I know from being there that this is not actually Burke'S Supervised Living 6104 Wheless Cove, not Wheless Lane. We had a murder 2 blocks away about a week ago. Is really just a part of Travis County Jail. What do they call it? Transitional housing. Most of the people living in there are hardcore ex-cons that just got out and they're getting free rent. They're getting food when I got to use mine anyway. This is primarily my warning, is that this should come up right next to Burke'S Supervised Living. And if you're going there, expect the same harassment. You're going to end up in the bed that they put out 2 full beds in Box Springs. That was be mine and the other one that was empty in that apartment. You know, bear in mind, Mr. Burke'S, just reprehensible. I mean, he knew by the second day that I was getting eaten alive and I was sleeping outside on a picnic table and stuff. I really only stayed there because it was just so horrendous to come back to this. I'm homeless once again. Thanks, Mr. Burke'S. Was there any compensation or, for me not getting the full benefit of my rent money? No. And I know the law, Mr. Burke'S, is that you rented me a place that was under the law is untenantable. That means I get all my money back and up to, because you were well aware that you had a bed bug problem. Oh, you were talking about, it's so expensive to tent the whole place and run everybody. Oh yeah, get real. You've been running a money-making operation for a long time there. You used to have 3 apartment buildings there. They're quadruplexes technically. And I'm sorry, it's just real disgusting. I mean, Mr. Burke'S, you got in there like the gay Mexican dude, he pronounces it Mexican, who's just, this obnoxious dictator. He doesn't engage in conversation. You have to sit there and listen to this shit. And if you try to say anything, he goes all feminine on you. He gives you looking over the top of his glasses and playing with his ponytail. And frankly, the guy, he turns sideways walking, you would think he was a broad, You got the titties hanging out, it's just, and from the looks of the whole place is, I'm going to touch on the most important subject before I go here because I'm going to try to keep this under 6 minutes. Mr. Burke, when I checked in there, I thought we had a pretty good understanding is that you encourage sober living. No, you don't really. And one of the rules I totally agreed with was no smoking, not even burning, candles indoors because of the breathing. Now, these are apartments that are airtight, weatherproofed, and all windows are screwed shut. There is no positive ventilation in this shithole. I told him right off the bat, because actually when I checked in there, the first thing, the next morning after I had problems breathing and got attacked by the bed bugs, boom, out pops the guy known as Preacher, your program director, who then proceeds to show me how you smoke inside. Puff up, both Preacher and Cowboy, Cowboy the schizo klepto. I'm not defaming anybody here. Anybody who knows anything about psychology can tell that Cowboy's a schizophrenic from the meth hands and the pill rolling and stuff like that. And I've put up with this. I mean, These people are all up and touching me, handling, moving around, disappearing, stealing my toilet paper, whatever, without asking, and they act like I was really in a room with a couple of biddies. And the whole thing seems to be like a gay operation. That's what I was going to mention before is, and yet, we're there just getting bullied by the gays. The senior man there is 78, 79 years old. And from the phrasing of how his male companion today, I wonder if he's got a long habit, Steve or whatever. I find it odd, Mr. Burke'S, that you spent, of course he's your friend. You want to spend $20,000, $30,000 renovating an apartment so Steve could get in a wheelchair and stuff, and yet you don't. There was nothing. I mean, you did absolutely nothing to remedy the bug infestation there, and y'all were, oh gosh. And the other part is these people are in there, and yesterday the air conditioning failed while I was outside. These guys, they're just, oh gosh, that sudden change in light. They're in there rebreathing the same air many times in one day. And at least my presence got them to stop, because what they were doing, Mr. Burke'S, was smoking both tobacco and pot. Preacher was. I smelled the pot outside his door. They're spraying it with chemicals. They was just spraying chemicals everywhere when I got in there. Fragrances, chemicals. It was untenable, uninhabitable. And yet your people, Mr. Burke'S, your manager, Michael, what's his last name, Duncan? Michael and Preacher were trying to do everything to pin the bed bugs on me. Why isn't it in my clothes? Why isn't it in my blanket? Why isn't it in my pack? Mr. Burke, you've got a serious infestation there that you're not doing anything to get rid of. And you're essentially using that to take people's money like mine. I knew it was kind of going on because the last guy that had that bed, he left real quickly. Y'all all had a big, Preacher and Cowboy and Leon had a big problem with him. No, he had a problem with you. Now I have a problem with you, Mr. Burke'S. And everybody in that stinking shithole is 6104 Wheless Cove. Bedbug warning. I'm stopping it right here at 7 minutes. Bedbug warning. Infestation at Burke'S Supervised Living. Travis County. I'm going to forward this to, I know somebody to forward it to. Good luck.